Alright, back to the main subject. We're going to be doing the SSS fork conversion on the O2 YZ250 Chad Reed replica. Before we get into it though, I want to give a shout out to my cousin Dustin for sending me a tripod. I can now start and stop my videos with the touch of a remote. So thank you, I really appreciate that. No more sticking my phone in the vise and making crappy videos. So I just want to say thank you again for that, and I love you, bro. Alright, let's get into it. Oh my god, those are SSS forks? Let's throw them up on the bench.
I said I was gonna throw them.
Alright guys, now that we abused and mistreated my brand new forks, let's unbox them now. That's right, not a scratch on them. Isn't that pretty? Alright guys, so we're going to start taking these apart and getting them ready. I'm going to take the guards off, take the triple clamps off because we're not using these. I'm going to buy a nice set. I'll probably clean these up and maybe I'll post them for sale, or if someone wants them, they're off a 2007 YZ250 So hit me up if you need them or want them. I'm not going to be using them, I'm just going to be using the forks. And that's pretty much it. So we'll start tearing these apart. I gotta order some parts, so this is gonna be like a multiple day video, but I'm just gonna edit it all into one. So we're gonna rebuild these also. So I need to order seals, and I'm waiting on some stuff to come in the mail right now. So once that gets here, I'll continue the process of rebuilding these, but we'll go ahead and tear them apart and get them separated. Alright guys, we're going to start by taking these guards off. So we got 3 8mm, 1 on this side and 2 on this side. And then we got 3 10mm to take off, 2 on this side and 1 on this side. Let's get to it. Set those aside. Okay, switch to our 10mm. The one that we're always going to lose. 2 on this side. Okay, and 1 on this one. Okay, get these pieces of crap off. Those lower shafts look really good actually. There is a little bit of oil from the seals, but that's okay because we are going to be putting new ones in anyways, so I'm not too worried about it. These guards are just going to go in the trash, so I'm going to get new ones. Alright. Next, we're going to take off the triple clamps, so let's take those off. Alright guys, so theoretically we should have 8 of these 10mm bolts holding the triple clamps on. 4 on the top, 4 on the bottom. I only have 7 total on here because someone ended up putting a 13mm right here on this bottom clamp, either because they broke the bolt or they lost it. I don't know, it doesn't matter. I'm not keeping any of these bolts or the triple clamps, so we'll go ahead and take these off and get them off the forks. Switch to my 13mm now. Alright, these clamps are loose, so these forks should slide out with a little bit of help, and they are. It's perfect, nothing's binding up, so there's one fork. Set that right there. And then this one is going to be a pain. Got the clamps loose. Come on, baby. Alright, there it goes. I just needed a little bit of help. Come on. Guys, I finally got it loose. It just took me a minute to get it free. The bottom clamp was hanging it up, so it's coming out now. Just being stubborn. There we go. Got those out. Let's get these nasty ass clamps out of here. All right. Here's both forks. Now we gotta rebuild them. Now I gotta wait for parts. So let's wait for parts. All right, guys, so we got our parts in. We got our OEM Yamaha fork seal kit. You don't wanna go cheap on the seals. They're not gonna last you as long, so I'm gonna stick to the OEM specifications for that. We got some Zeta free pistons. I'm gonna go ahead and replace the ones that are in here. I don't know if they're bad or not, but as some of you know, and if you don't know, they have plastic free pistons up here in the top cap and base valve assembly area, and they start to break apart and become brittle and crack due to them being plastic. So we're gonna upgrade to some aluminum ones which have holes in them, so if it builds up pressure, it won't expand, and we won't have plastic bits inside of our chamber anymore. And I also went ahead and got a new set of micro bleeders because I'm just going to replace the ones that are on here. They seemed kind of crummy. I don't know how old they are, so we're just going to start fresh with that. So let's get started. I got most of the tools pretty much for this job, or all the tools out. I do have all the tools to complete the job, but as far as out, everything should be out. The only thing that's not out right now is the seal bullet, which I do have. We'll use that a little bit later, or you can use electrical tape or a Ziploc bag, whatever you guys feel you want to use if you don't want to spend the money, but I have a seal bullet, so we'll go ahead and use that when the time comes. We'll go ahead and bust this cap loose first for our base valve assembly. Get this guy loose. And mind you, I didn't forget a step. I forgot to say it just now, but we have our compression settings and our rebound settings written down. So basically what you're going to do before you guys start, you are going to count your clicks counterclockwise all the way to 0 where it's seated, and figure out how many clicks of compression you are, and the same with the rebound on the bottom. So mine was 18 for compression, so I went all the way in and counted each click until it bottomed out, and then I backed it all the way out because you want these backed out when you guys go to rebuild your forks. And same with the rebound, I counted how many clicks in until it's seated counterclockwise, and then you want to turn it all the way out counterclockwise till it stops. So yeah, I have those written down right there for my settings when I go to put these back together. Whether or not I'll keep it at those settings, I'm not sure. We'll figure it out once we get this all on the bike and yada, 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 and I do some testing and writing on it, so we'll figure that out. Now that this is loose, let's take off the fork bleeder. So we'll go ahead and unscrew this guy and get this out of here. This is just gonna go in the trash because this one's pretty crummy. So we'll set that aside for now. Okay. Oh, and by the way, today I will be using the KYB 01M fork oil. It's factory specifications recommended. I could use the Maxima or the other stuff, but I just went with what manufacturer said to go with, and I know everybody recommends the KYB oil for the SSS forks because KYB makes them, so we're gonna go ahead and go with those today. Okay, now that I got that cap busted loose, let's drain our oil. So we are gonna pull this apart just a little bit. We're gonna dump our oil down here. You can't see, but I got a drain pan down here, so we're gonna dump all our oil out. That's actually pretty nasty, so it's a good thing we're rebuilding these. Drain all that oil out, get all the nasty oil. Alright, Alright, so I pretty much got all the oil out of that. Okay, now you're going to flip it over to this side, to the rebound adjuster. Make sure, also another thing, you guys, if you are clamping your forks in a vise, you have a pair of soft jaws. I have a pair right here that I bought off Amazon. I can put the link in the description below. You guys can get yourself a pair of soft jaws. That way you're not marking up your forks or anything. So just keeps everything nice and tight without putting marks and stuff. All right, so we're gonna take our 17 millimeter, get that on there. And I need to tighten this up a little more. My vise is wanting to slip just a little bit. This is okay. If it keeps slipping, I'll put the knuckle. Yeah, I'm gonna have to put the knuckle in there, so give me just a second. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. We'll go ahead and put our knuckle in here. Tighten that guy up. You know what? I'm gonna do it this way. There we go. That's better. All right. Make sure that's snug. Okay, 17 millimeter. This thing's pretty crusty, so it's been on there for quite a while. We're definitely going to be cleaning a lot of these parts once we get off. So you're going to go until you start to hear the threads slipping. That means it's out all the way. Take that loose. You can do this next step a couple different ways. You can put it in the vise and push down on it if you want. I don't want to do it that way. I'm going to put it on the ground and push down so the rebound adjuster comes up and I can get to the jam nut. Let me find something soft that I can push down on. I got some cardboard over here that'll work. Make sure you guys will be able to see what I'm doing too. So turn this real quick. Alright, so there's the oil I drained. Let's back this out just a little bit. It's not fuzzy. Move this tripod for a sec. Alright. So, I got my cardboard down. So now we're going to put this upside down. And then I got my Tusk jam nut holder tool. And we're going to push this down until we get to the jam nut. You're going to have to really compress it. But might take you a couple times to get it, but it's doable. So I got it partially in. You don't want it partially in. You want it all the way seated in there. So let me go a little more. Okay, so see how I got that there? We got the tool holding the jam nut right there. And then we'll go ahead and separate this. So I believe this is a 15 and then this is obviously a 17. So we'll take our rebound adjuster off and then we should be able to pull these guys apart. So I'm gonna grab my 15 millimeter and my 17. There we go. Alright, so we got that broke loose. Take our rebound adjuster off. I guarantee this one is probably going to be pretty damn crummy. Which it is. It's reusable, it's just dirty when I say it's crummy. So we'll set that aside. Okay. We'll take our rebound rod out. Set that aside. We'll examine that in just a bit. Okay. Now we're going to push down again and we're going to pull our tool out and then we should be able to separate these forks. So I got the tool pulled out. Okay. Now we should be able to pull our whole base valve assembly and all this apart like so. Try not to drip oil anywhere. Hopefully you guys can still see what I'm doing. I will move the camera in just a second. Move some of these tools aside. So we do have some more oil in here that we're going to get rid of. Very careful taking this stuff apart. Okay. There's the spring. Okay. It looks like this is a OEM factory spring. I don't see any shins or washers of any sort, so that's good. Later on, depending on how I feel with the suspension, once we get it on the bike and everything's all done, we'll determine whether or not I get aftermarket springs and shins or not, but we'll see. We'll just rebuild this for now and go from there. Let me get this tripod set back over here so you guys can see. Alright, so we got everything separated. Let's do that, that's better. Okay, so we got our spring. And got our base valve assembly. Our dampening rod right there. Our rebound rod. Alright, so now we're going to set our spring aside. So now on the lower part of the fork tubes, we're going to separate these. So first we're going to knock our dust seal off. You can most of the time just get a flathead and pop it loose, just like that. Doesn't take very much. Get that out of the way. And then inside here, you're gonna have a lock nut or a seal clip, however you want to say it. But you'll go ahead and pop your seal clip out. You can use a flathead, you can use a pick. I just used a pick. Okay, and pop that guy loose. Now, you should be able to separate your seals in here by using your fork as a driver. I'm gonna make sure you guys can still see. Okay. Sorry if I keep readjusting the camera. I just want to make sure you guys can see this okay. So now, we're just gonna separate our seals. Just like that. So, set this guy aside. So now, on here, we have our piston bushing, we have our guide bushing, our backer ring, and then we have our oil seal, our actual fork oil seal. So if you guys haven't taken forks apart before, I recommend you guys put the stuff in order how you took it off. If you've done it before or you feel comfortable, then feel free to do it how you want it. I'm just recommending. So we're gonna go ahead and take our first bushing off, set that aside, take our next bushing off, our backer ring, and then our oil seal. Let's get that off there. This one's getting stubborn. Alright, so we got that off there. So we'll put this stuff aside. We're not gonna probably be reusing it. We'll reuse the backer ring, of course, but the kit should come with new bushings and a new dust seal and a new O-ring. Or oil seal, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say O-ring. I don't think the kit comes with new O-rings, so we're gonna go ahead and wipe this all off. Let's take our dust seal off, forgot about that one. Okay, take our dust seal off. Take our clip out, set our clip aside, wipe our stuff off. Alright guys, so next step, once you got everything cleaned, put your base valve assembly in your vise. Go ahead and get your fork cap tool, and you're going to get your 19mm socket, and you're going to take this top cap off, like so. Once you got that loose, you don't need this anymore. Just keep unscrewing this guy. Okay. Once you got it pretty much loose, you can take this back out of the vise. And you should be able to just twist this with your hand. It's going to be under a vacuum a little, so you're going to want to push down on the bottom a little bit and kind of help pull it up. Go slow though, because with it being under a vacuum, this thing's going to want to shoot oil out. So just be very, very careful, very slow. Slowly coming, just like that. Okay, so now that we got that out, we can take our jam nut off. You can do either step first, it doesn't really matter, but I'll take the jam nut off now. So I'm unscrewing the jam nut, as you can see right there. Put that guy down. Okay, we're gonna push our rebound rod out, or our dampening cartridge, and I'm spilling oil everywhere, of course. Should have known better, but it's okay. That's why I have a towel. Okay, pull that guy out and wipe my hands off because I have oil everywhere now. But what's a job without a mess, so oh well. It happens, but that's okay. That's what a workbench is for, and that's why I have a towel down. So, and my floor is epoxied, so even if I got any on the floor, it wipes up without staining, so I don't care. All right, so we'll go ahead and wipe this stuff off. Okay. Pull this guy out. It's a little stubborn. My tool is being stubborn. Better yet, I'll just use the vise. I'm gonna pull these off really quick. Put this in the vise. And I'm still dripping oil everywhere. Ugh. Messy, messy, messy. Alright, you know what? While we have that there, we're gonna use that. So we're gonna take a 14mm wrench, wherever I set that, I put it somewhere. Let me get my bearing. Oh, here we go. Okay. And we're gonna carefully break this valve stack loose up here, like so. Very slow. And so here's our free piston that I was talking about. And what happens with this thing is there's no holes in this. So once this builds up pressure in here, if the oil can't escape, it'll blow this plastic apart, and it's all inside of your fork tubes and stuff, and it just makes a mess everywhere. So we're gonna go ahead and replace that with a little bit of an upgrade, so that we don't have that problem in the future. Looks like this one was intact. There is something that you can do with these, and it's totally up to you if you want to. You can drill a hole. There's a video on YouTube, I think it's TBT or something like that, but he shows you there's ribs inside here. There's ribs in there, and you want to stay in one of those ribs, and you'll mark it like 10mm up or something like that, and you'll drill a hole through this side and then push it through the other side, so that way oil has a way to escape, because these are just plastic. So we're gonna go ahead and get rid of this guy. It is no longer needed. pistons, like so. It'll want to come out of the bag. Alright. So here's one of our new free pistons. As you guys can see, it's aluminum and it's got multiple holes right here. So if oil ever builds up in there, it has a way to escape, and it's a nice upgrade. It's aluminum, it's not plastic, so it won't blow apart inside there. So that's a nice little upgrade. So we'll get that on there. I'm gonna go ahead and clean all these parts up again. You guys obviously know how to clean stuff. I'm using Yamalube brake and contact cleaner. So I'll go ahead and clean all these parts up really quick, and then I'll come back and we'll continue. Alright guys, so now that we got everything all cleaned up, we got our new Zeta free piston installed. It just goes back on exactly how I took the plastic one off. You just unscrew this up here, your shim stack, put your free piston on, put your shim stack back on, snug it up, and then your base valve assembly is complete. So now we're going to take our inner chamber. I already inspected my piston band on my dampening cartridge. So we're going to go ahead and drop this back down in our inner chamber. Drop it like so, and you'll need something, a T-handle or something to push this through. I'm just going to use the handle of my ratchet. So now it's pushed through. You're going to pull it out. I'm going to go ahead and put my jam nut on now. Get that screwed on all the way. Like so. Okay. Got that on there all the way. Wipe anything else off on here. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add some oil into the inner chamber. So we got two holes right here. We got one right here and one right here. We're gonna cover those up with our fingers, and we're gonna add our oil and fill it up to the holes. And then we're slowly gonna bleed it by pushing this about halfway up, so a half stroke, up and down about 5 to 8 times till the air is gone, or however long it takes until you don't see any more bubbles or you don't hear any more air. So we're just gonna bleed it out. So we'll go ahead and do that now. So cover up these holes, make sure they're covered up good. We'll add our oil up to the holes. All right, we're up to the holes. So now, and you don't want to do this very fast either, because you don't want to shoot oil everywhere. But we're going to do about a half a stroke up, half a stroke down. Basically what you're doing is you're pulling the oil down past the piston band and getting it all down inside the inner chamber while bleeding the air out, of course. So we're just going to keep doing that, like so. Half stroke. I can still hear a little bit of air, so I'm going to keep going until I don't hear any more air. Okay, let me check this. I'm gonna keep going. I do not see any more air. Looks like we got all of it out. Do a couple more just for good measures. All right. So now we're gonna add a little bit more oil because we pulled some down into our inner chamber. We're gonna add it up to the holes. Okay. Now we're gonna put our base valve assembly in. This part right here is gonna be a little messy. So as you put this in, you're gonna wanna try and push down on the rod. So as you're pushing up, your base valve assembly is going down into your inner cartridge. So push that down like so. Once you get that threaded, you can take your tool, wherever I set mine, and you can start tightening this guy back up, like so. And it just has to be snug. You don't have to torque it. It's not gonna go anywhere, the cap. And you can always tighten it too once you put it in your triple clamps. And I just gotta get this off. For some reason my cap tool came, and it's like stubborn for some reason. I don't know why. But now we're gonna push our rod and get all our excessive fluid out of here. So we're gonna do a full stroke. It's kind of a pain in the ass a little bit, especially if you're not super strong. But you can hear that. We're gonna do it again. And once more. And one more time. Make sure all that excessive fluid is out of there. You can pull the rod back too and help it. All right. Our inner chamber is all done and rebuilt. And you'll know that if you push your lower rod in, like so, and it comes back out on its own, then you know you did it right. If not, then repeat the steps before of bleeding the air out, and you should be good to go. So now our inner rod, or our inner chamber, is fully rebuilt. So now we can move on to our fork seals, and we'll get that going. Before we do that though, we'll go ahead and slide our ring back on right there, and then our spring perch, go ahead and slide that guy back on. Make sure it's all clean and whatnot. So there's that, and this bad boy is ready to be reinserted into our fork tubes after we put new seals in. So we'll move on to that next. All right guys, now is the time to rebuild our fork tubes. We're gonna put some new seals and bushings in. So I got my seal bullet on there already. So basically what you're gonna do is you're just gonna put some grease, you're gonna tap this guy on just with your hand, and you're gonna wanna get it past the groove right here. There's a sharp groove that the bushing sits in, and you don't want your seals getting cut up when you go to slide them on. So we'll go ahead and put some grease on our seals, like so. They've been sitting in the packaging for a while, so you don't need to do too much, just do a little bit. If it looks like I'm dipping my finger in constantly into this grease, it's because it's a little bit firmer right now. It's cold because it's been sitting in the garage. So just grease it up nice, like so. And then the first one to go on is going to be our dust seal, and you'll see that there's a spring on the outside, and that's going to go this way down towards the fork lug. The fork lug's right here. So you're going to slide its spring down first, like so. Next will be our seal clip. Just slide that down, like so. And next is our oil seal. So we'll grease that up. Most important part of the entire rebuild is the oil seal, because that is what leaks all the time. And you'll see there is a spring on this one as well. That one is going to go down towards the lug as well. So we'll push that guy down, like so. And then our backer ring, you'll notice on one side it's shallow, on the other side it's kind of indented, if that's the word I'm looking for. We're going to put it on the shallow side facing up, so flat side up. Okay, put that down like so. Then we're going to put our bushings on, but we can take this seal bullet off now. It's kind of firm because it just fits tight. So let me get that off there. Bear with me just a second here. Not a pain in the ass. Okay, got it off. You want it to fit nice and tight anyways, because you don't want it to rip your seals. Okay, so we're going to put our first bushing on, and our second bushing, like so. Okay, now we're going to lock this in our vise. Put the lug in there, like so. Tighten her down. Okay, and take our upper fork tube, slide it down onto our lower tube, like so. And we're going to grab our seal driver, get our seal driver on here, and we're going to smack this into the upper tube until the pitch changes. You'll hear it. You'll know when it's seated because, like I said, the sound pitch will change. So. Couple good measures. Okay. Fork seal is in there. Next goes our clip. So we'll get our clip stuffed in there nice. Kind of a pain in the ass to deal with gloves, but it's doable. Okay. Get one side in. Make sure that's in the groove. All the way around, which it looks like it is, and it is. Okay, now wipe that off. We can just pop this dust seal in and just pretty much not smack it, but just hit it up against the slug right here, and the dust seal's on. It doesn't take very much, so. All right. And our dust seal is on, It's flush all the way around. Perfect. So we'll go ahead and take that out now. So now our shields are rebuilt. Okay. And now we'll move on to the next part. All right, guys. Now it's time to put these bad boys back together. So you guys want to make sure that your spring perch is back on. Next, we're going to put our spring on, like so. Okay. I'll slide these together here. Super awkward. So go ahead and put that in there, like so. Okay. Set that there just for a second. Let me grab my cardboard again. We're gonna flip this bad boy upside down, like that. And now the fun part, we're gonna compress this again and put our locking tool back in, whatever you wanna call it. So turn the camera this way so you guys can see what I'm doing. Okay. So we're gonna push this down and get a hold of our jam nut. This part's a bitch, especially with rebuilt forks. Sometimes it takes a minute to get it. Ugh, pain in the ass. All right. We got her. Okay, so now we're gonna take our rebound adjuster and we're gonna thread that guy. Oh, I skipped a step. Whoops. Very important, obviously. We're gonna put our rebound rod back in, of course. Glad I didn't forget that. We're gonna screw our rebound adjuster back down. Just like that. Okay, we're gonna grab our 17 and our 15 millimeter. Like so. Snug that up. Come on, baby. Oh, wrong way. Don't need to go super tight with it, but snug, obviously. Okay, now carefully, we're gonna push this back down and pull this. This is gonna wanna snap down. All right, guys, sorry my video cut out. So like I was saying, when you go to pull this tool out, it's gonna snap down, so just watch your fingers. So we'll pull this tool out like so. Watch your fingers. Okay. We'll go ahead and tighten this back down. snug it up. Of course, now my ratchet wants to get stuck. Ay, ay, ay. Okay. Set that aside. Make sure I got that all the way on there. Alright. So now I'm gonna go ahead and reset my clicker. So I'll screw it all the way back down until it stops. Alright, so we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, pick this guy back up. Screw our top cap back on. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this in the vise. Oh, keep skipping steps, guys. So we're gonna pour our fork oil in. We're using 12 ounces of the KYB 01 fluid. I'm sorry if I'm skipping steps and getting ahead of myself. I just had my son was born just the other day, so I've been super tired. I haven't slept a whole lot, so just bear with me here. You guys probably can't even see. This is exactly why I shouldn't be doing this when I'm tired. So let's go back up here. And we'll go ahead and pour our fork oil in. Hopefully you guys can see. So we'll go ahead and pour our oil in, like so. Okay. Now that we got all that in there, we'll go ahead and pull that guy down. Okay. And now we will tighten up our top cap now. I'm not getting ahead of myself. Okay. I'll snug that up once I get it on the bike. Okay, now our fork bleeders. We'll get our new fork bleeders. Okay, and then I'll go ahead and reset this top compression. So what I had it at, so we'll go all the way in. And mine was at 18, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And I'm sure that'll probably change later once I test ride everything and check everything out. I'll go ahead and tighten up this fork leader. Some people don't like these fork bleeders because they say they leak. I've never really had an issue with them. I like them, so. All right. We are all done with this fork. We got a nicely rebuilt fork. Nothing is leaking right now. Hopefully it stays that way. Let's see if you guys can see that on the bench. And you can. I'm gonna take you guys down here now. And you guys can see that we have a nicely rebuilt fork. So there's that one. We'll do the other one the same. I'm not going to record it because I did this one and it was a mess me recording it, but I did it. So I'll go ahead and do the other one and then we'll get these on the bike sooner or later once I get some triple clamps, and we'll just keep building her and building her. Go from there. All right, guys, that's going to conclude the video today for the first part of the Triple S fork swap. Next time I'm hoping we'll be able to get some triple clamps on there and get these mounted up. I still have to order a couple more parts. The front axle, I need to get a front axle and the spacers so that I can fit my wheel on there. And then this fork's like 90% rebuilt. The inner chamber, all that stuff's been redone. I put the piston in this one. This one, for some reason, was missing the backer ring. I want to make sure I get one before I put it all back together. And then both forks will be fully done and rebuilt, and then we'll go from there. Alright, as always, I appreciate you guys watching. Like, subscribe, whatever you guys want to do. And we'll see you next time.
I won't